Well, it's been a busy few months for CEOs as they navigate the new Trump administration's policies. Joining us right now to talk about everything from taxes to tariffs and share what CEOs are thinking is Josh Bolten. He's the CEO of the Business Roundtable, which represents over 200 CEOs from America's leading companies in every sector of the U.S. economy. Josh, good morning. What are CEOs thinking about the economy right now?
Good morning, Becky. The CEOs are always optimistic. They're always looking ahead to what's good in their business, but they've got to be concerned about the business environment that they're operating in. Two big things are going on here in Washington that are affecting the level of their optimism. One is the reconciliation bill, the tax bill that's working its way through Congress. That's huge for our membership and critical that that get done. So far, the news seems pretty good about how that bill is coming out. The other policy element that's important to all of their businesses here in Washington is what's going on with trade and tariffs, and that has many of our members concerned.
All right, well, let's start with the tax legislation, since we've got the biggest news coming out of that this morning overnight with it passing through a House committee. First of all, as somebody who's been in Washington for a long time, as somebody who has steered some of this from the White House, what is your timeline and your expectation in terms of this bill getting passed?
The important thing is that it get done this year. Now, the Speaker has set himself a very ambitious timeline, and he's proved himself and his team to be pretty able at navigating a difficult political situation with a razor-thin margin of majority in the House. And he set a timeline of trying to get the bill out of the House by Memorial Day. That would be great if that happens. It doesn't need to happen. The important thing is that this bill get enacted before the U.S. Starts to bump up against the debt ceiling, because it's important to remember that an increase in the U.S. debt ceiling is also included in this legislation. Treasury is saying that August or September may be the deadline. So from the business standpoint, I think everybody's going to be pretty confident and optimistic about the outcome as long as they get the bill done before Congress goes home for the August recess.
As you've mentioned, this is very important to your membership, just getting those tax cuts extended at the 21% rate. I guess business depreciation, research and development would be other important issues for you in this?
Yes. The important elements of this are a continuation of the overall corporate rate and R&D. The R&D tax credit, which expired a couple of years ago, depreciation elements, and there are important international tax elements. I mean, Becky, everybody should appreciate that if the Congress doesn't get this bill done, there's a massive $4+ trillion tax increase that's going to hit both individuals and business. It's critical that it gets done. Right now, it looks like they're on a pretty good path to get it done.
I know that's something that has business leaders thrilled to have the tax cuts coming through. When you put that in conjunction with the potential for tariffs and what's happening with trade right now, how do CEOs measure or weigh the two sides? They come out on top, or are they under additional pressure that they didn't see coming?
Well, they want to come out on top on both sides, and it's important that that we keep a competitive corporate and small business tax rate going to keep the economy humming. It's also important that the trade situation not go off the rails. There was a pretty sharp reaction when the president announced a whole bunch of tariffs at the beginning of April, and then pretty substantial relief, as you saw in the markets, when it was clear that the president was going to try to negotiate to get some good deals overseas. that would make it possible for him not to impose the draconian tariffs that he originally put on the table. And that's what our members are hoping for. They completely support the idea of putting pressure on our trading partners to level the playing field, to treat us as well in their markets as we treat them in ours. And so they don't mind that kind of pressure being put on our trading partners. The important thing is we use that pressure to get the trade barriers down, because going both ways, because our economy is so globally intertwined at this point that raising a lot of barriers on either side, on imports or on our exports, will really damage the bottom line of a lot of our businesses.
Josh, what do you think about the political pressure that might come from the White House, that is coming from the White House on American businesses to hold the line on prices, to effectively eat the tariff costs? And I'm referring specifically to the comments that the president made over the weekend about Doug McMillon at Walmart. And then separately, even a week or two ago, when there was a possibility floated, I think incorrectly, that Amazon was considering, for example, at least being transparent about if prices went up, why they were doing so for a specific part of their business.
Well, Andrew, Walmart and Amazon aren't alone. That the concern about having to raise prices is shared across certainly almost all of the big retailers in America, and a lot of other producers here in the United States as well. The challenge is that, like Walmart, most retailers operate on very thin margins, maybe 3-4% is their margin when they put the product on the shelf. Some of the tariffs that have been threatened or imposed would be 10 times that much. And so every company does everything it can to keep its costs down and not pass them on to the consumers, because the consumers aren't going to come in to shop if the prices go way up. But a tenfold increase in their costs above their margins, that's not something that any typical company can eat. So the imperative from their standpoint is reach a deal that makes those tariffs go away and levels the playing field for American